to be live stream on YouTube. And yeah, today we have JP Jacobs, my mechanic. So yeah, looking forward to a good conversation with my buddy. Say hey, JP.
Hey guys, welcome to the Zwift Ride with Alan. It's going to be cool to hang out with you guys for an hour and get to speak some techie stuff and geek out on some interesting things about Alan and his bike and all the things we get up to.
Yeah, and the next one you're gonna get a bike and join in. I'll loan you one if I have to.
Yeah, that's no problem.
You're looking too fresh there on the other side.
I'm used to motor pacing you around.
100%. So yeah, how's lockdown been for you? You managed to prep any of the bike stuff for when we eventually get going with racing again?
Not as much bike stuff as I'd like, but I managed to clean up my toolbox, so that's ready to travel. And then we got left with some of the new equipment things that we're riding from SRAM, the power meters and derailleurs that I've been playing with and making sure I get familiarized with the SRAM app and what it can give both me and you as feedback. And we are just waiting to get trail side and fix stuff and break stuff with you.
Hopefully, yeah, not so much breaking and more fixing.
Gotta find the boundaries, eh?
Yeah, exactly. That's some bad testing when you're fixing the whole time. But yeah, well, you mentioned your toolbox there in the beginning. I actually see it behind you. What do you mean by cleaning up? Obviously, most people think it's just a toolbox, but I mean, I can vouch that your toolbox is next level.
Yeah, the toolbox was a bit small from last year. I had a slightly smaller, just a carry-on briefcase, plastic one. But a lot of our components to 2020 has changed, like rotors off, Maguras off. So that means there's a whole bunch of tools that I don't need anymore. So I had to take them out, recut new foam, and then everything is at fingertip precision. So that if we need to get to a track, test something, I open the box and we're ready to work. There's no digging for tools. The efficiency is key with the little time we have between testings or even just between lap times.
Yeah, 100%. It's not just me. We actually have quite a few athletes on the specialized team. Obviously, I think you've got to really be known as the suspension and tinkerer guru. To be honest, I think you end up getting your hands full a bit more than you expect sometimes. So yeah, I mean, who are your athletes again, just for everyone besides me?
For 2020, lost my thought. I'll be working with Alan, and he takes a good chunk of time because he's always in search for perfection, and he squeezes every ounce of training out of himself. So when he feels fit, then he starts tinkering with the bike to get extra more speed out of anything, be it tire, suspension, anything to save a few seconds a lap. And then I've got U23 star Chris Blevins. He's a bit younger. He's a lot more playful on the bike. And we're still testing the boundaries to find his sweet baseline. And then from there on, we can start playing a bit more up or down, depending on what track feedback he gets when we ride the different circuits. So it's quite interesting to have two athletes that are on equal sides of the spectrum. One is a bit more playful and fun and stylish, and the other one is just pure speed driven, smooth as fast, and Alan goes for that.
Yeah, no, I mean I've seen we definitely keep your hands full. I mean that testing camp we did in Spain was a full week of full gas tinkering and obviously trying to get everything prepared and ready for the season. When you say baseline, what does that actually mean as far as data? I mean, obviously, I know all this stuff, but the people don't know actually, how much detail and attention goes into it from your side, as far as like recording backdating, knowing exactly what we rode, where and when, and what the conditions were like?
So I've got this little book that Alan's been trying to buy off of me since 2018. It's literally got all my notes from the races. So I would document weather, track conditions, the track style, the course, the mud, the rock, all of that. But to make sense of any of that data, what Alan means by baseline is where we find out what is the go-to tire pressure. So for Alan, it's 1.6, 1.5 bars. That's his start-off pressure. And for suspension, we get a start-off that feels very good. Also with the rebound clicks. So that is baseline. So whenever we try experiment with anything and it doesn't work, we can always go back to a setting that feels neutral on the bike. And then either start making tweaks front, back, tire pressure. And then, so it's good to know that we're not just always arrive at a track and be looking for that neutral spot on the bike.
Yeah, I mean, I've relied on that book and you so many times. I've just not feeling 100% and a bit unsure of, what the bike's actually doing under me. And you just want that like reassurance that you're on the right track with where your settings are at. And that's where you deliver the goods, all the info and the tinkers, and then we're good to go for the race.
Yeah, but we've had many after race head scratches where you'd come back and be like, what were we riding? What were our pressures? And it's a good assurance for me and for you to know this is what we agreed on, this is what we put in, and then we can, okay, maybe it wasn't the bike that felt bad, maybe it was, just not feeling the track, because that also happens where you just don't get into that rhythm and hit every corner at the sweet spot all the time. So yeah, to me, it's my saving grace, my proof.
Yeah, exactly. Especially after traveling for so long, like we do to the events, it's impossible to get on and go and feel minty fresh all the time.
Yeah,
but yeah, as I say, digging back a bit, a few years. I mean, your history of who you've worked with from 16 onwards, I guess. Don't know if you remember it all offhand, but obviously your highlight results and those athletes that you've tinkered with. I mean, I can even go back as far as your Daniel days. When you were getting into the professionally in the mechanic side.
What happened there? Yeah, I had my first experience at the 2014 World Cup in Peter America. A friend of mine, John T, he was tied up with some other things racing with his brother, and he knew two riders for the Norco team that needed a second mechanic, because in downhill it's roughly one mechanic per bike, otherwise the load is just too much for all the changes and things. And there I got to work with Bryn and Jill Kinter, where I actually got my first podium, third place with Jill for downhill. And that's where the bug just bit me so hard, where I loved that speed, the performance, the adrenaline of racing, being trackside, and just always being on your feet, ready to jump at anything. Then from there, I started 2016 full time with James Reed. That took me to Olympics with him for selection, and that's basically where your path started. I would say the alteration was Lenzerheide, where you came with your current bike, and I was like, "Hey, buddy, you want to race? Then we're gonna need like a whole truck of spares to make this thing work." And I had a little Jimmy for the shifters, and you just had this tail like, "Hey, where did they get this guy? Like, he's just shooting blanks, not to work on it." And then from there on, yeah.
I think we actually need to pause there for a second and actually tell that full story, because that's a good memory of when we first got to meet each other. Yeah, I mean, obviously my bike wasn't feeling nearly where it should have, and we had a team mechanic, JP. And he was, the rumors back then already were obviously that, the JP is the best in the business. So I was like, all right, let's give this guy a go and see what he thinks. Yeah, and obviously you had a quick run to the bike, came to me with that like quirk and sort of laughing a bit, saying like, yeah, your bike needs everything new. It needs new cassettes, new chains, new pedals. You want a lockout for the rear shock. I could see you thought at that point, it wasn't happening, that your job was done. You're going to spray some lube and off I go.
Just mechanic in a can.
Yeah. And then I flip and case all the stuff you asked for.
The whole wish
Yeah.
list.
Yeah, I mean, the bike was game changed. I think I actually got top 20 at that World Cup, if I'm not mistaken. So
it was Lenz Ride. It's also one of your proven favorite tracks throughout your career. But
yeah,
even after putting all that stuff in, and all the hard work to make the bike right, that bike did feel good for what it was, and arrived there with this little bag of parts you flung around the track.
yeah, and that was pre-Olympics actually. I think that was after World Champs in Nova Mesta.
Yeah, it was like a CSA team camp we did. It was Lenzerheide, Nova Mesto, and then after that, the final selection was made for the Rio Olympics, where you and James got to tag along with me, or I got to tag along with you guys. I just never know which way goes first.
Yeah, I ended up running, I think, the identical setup at Olympics. Same shifter for the rear shock, same suspension, tires, probably. I think I was just like, that was good, we do it again. But yeah, sorry to have interrupted. So yeah, post 2016, your athletes and results.
Worked with Ariane Luti. We won the Upsa Cape Epic. That was my first big win as a full-time race mechanic, which is quite cool to come 8 days through without any mechanicals, or you get mechanicals, but you have faith in your riders to fix it, and so on. We went from there. We went to Rio. It was an awesome experience to be at that caliber of racing with the world's best. To 2017, we had our podium together at Andorra, where you got silver to sign at Sprint, at the top of the hill. There where you can't breathe or anything, and from there on we just clawed our way to that first win in MSA. Christopher Blevins there at one of the most technical and hardest terrains to navigate your bike around without breaking anything. And then the peak, I would say, peak year for me as a wrench would be 2018 with Commonwealth. The year started off bumpy with you trying to hurt yourself with both wrists being out the game, or testing my skills to get the bike as smooth as possible so we can hit the trail sooner than what the doctor said. But yeah, we went from Feb being in cast, driving you around from hospital visits and getting physio work done and all of that, to fighting for bronze at the Gold Coast, which it's amazing. It was 8 weeks, 8 or 10 weeks from a crash to Commonwealth.
Yeah, I think it was 8, 7.
Yeah,
I was actually bored.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
Phenomenal to see how you managed your mental health, and we just trusted the process, and we worked equally hard to get today. And then from there on, you went and smashed world champs. And I wish you could have seen me and Tim in the feed zone where I just collapsed. It was like that year was just climbing, and then you winning was the pinnacle of emotional everything. Just like all the hard work, the traveling, the being away from home and family and things. It was just like it paid off. Like, we trust the process. We didn't fight it. We didn't just U23 world champ.
Yeah, and Kate. Don't forget that.
Yeah, that was like the next day. That season, I was you and Kate went for a ride, and she was battling with some bike issues and things, and she asked me at Val de Sol if I would care to work with her for the rest of the season. And same thing there. We went and clawed our way to podiuming at the tracks and some top 10 good results for elite. And then over Lenza Heider, she came fighting. She didn't stop fight and just rode into that rainbow jersey solo breakaway from Annika, which was another
Yeah,
weekend, just 2 jerseys back to back.
yeah, insane. Thinking back, and then it was Marathon Worlds the following weekend. But I mean, that was post XCO World, so obviously we were a bit out of it, not really prepared for
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But
I think it was more that terrain was like we didn't think. Yeah, they said we're gonna go race in the Dolomites, and we're like, oh, it's cute mountains. And then you did some course wreck, and it was you and Matt. You and Matt saw those walls, and there was some steep climbing, but it was a nice experience and a learning curve to see how your body would react after racing so hard at World Champs and then trying a different style of racing 2 weeks later.
yeah, no, it was a crazy one, and obviously, adapting bike setup and pressures. How would just while we're on the marathon stuff, how would you differentiate, XC to a marathon setup? Just for the general guy as a sort of guideline, if you were to switch from, let's say a Spur MTB League event to a Nissan Trail Seeker, let's say 40, 60 Ks, what would be your sort of go-to suggestions for the rider?
I would definitely start off with the tires, going for a slightly more thicker sidewall tire. Like we swapped from our control casing to the grid, so that we know from the start of the race to the end of the race we're going to be fine. The chances of for punches or sidewall cuts are lessened by the thicker, slightly heavier tire. We also add a little bit more sealant because you're riding for way longer, so that takes care of the little thorns and things. And then definitely the second bottle cage comes on, the little SWAT box or saddlebag with all your space. So what Alan normally carries, what I pack in your little lunch box is a tube, a CO2, a quick link, a spare hanger. Because when you do a marathon, it's you don't see me as often. You see me like 25K or so. So there I rely on you to be able to get yourself to a feed zone, fix it, or get yourself out of the trouble situation. So I would look at it like XCO Spur League. It's more shapeable for get it as fast and light as possible. And then for a marathon race, you kind of go tank mode and rather have a rig that rides from the start to finish instead of going with the light options and possibly running into some unfortunate mistakes or technicalities that could cost you your ride for the day.
Yeah, 100%. I think that reliability is priceless. I mean, from a rider's perspective, I think, if you run that heavier stuff, you may be going to lose, I don't know, over a 60K race, you might lose like 40 seconds. But, if you puncture to fix it in under 40 seconds, I'm not a mechanic like you. So I know I'm going to lose more than 40 seconds. So, yeah, definitely from that perspective, it's way worth it to make those smarter, more reliable choices. Definitely going to save you in the long run. And obviously the other key factors is got some messages there.
I don't know.
Yeah, your other key factors is the hanger. I think gaiters, a multi-tool is also pretty handy to have on. Trying to think what else. Obviously a chain link as well can also be a lifesaver.
Yeah, quick links are it's something easy, but that I normally just tape to your brake line and we kind of leave it there for the whole season without either of us noticing it from long trading rides or whatever. But at least we know it is there. That's the good one to always have a multi-tool, because something either rattles loose sometimes, or I've had many rear derailleurs come undone slightly or something, or just a crash like you had in Banyoles where your bars were crooked twisted, but you have a little the tool in the back, you could straighten it and manage your way back to the tech zone to else was fine. So I would normal long training ride, some spare tube, CO2, and definitely the multi tool there.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think the biggest thing is obviously making sure your multi-tool has a chain breaker. You have a quick link. Otherwise, you're going to have to do some bush mechanic magic to make that guy work out.
Yeah, I would, if someone pulls that off to fix the chain without a chain tool, I would gladly give them a chain breaker. Because that would be some skillful bush mechanic engineering right there.
Yeah, exactly. I think the only guy that could maybe potentially be a challenge is Nico Bow. A master bush mechanic. He's, I think, saved himself a lot of times by using twigs and rocks and whatnot to put the bike back together.
Veteran.
Yeah, exactly.
Got his stars and stripes. I think he's also competed a fair amount of Cape Epics, and these long rides they teach you a lot of things. If something goes wrong, what to fix and how to fix it. You can get pretty creative.
Yeah, exactly. I was just thinking, for the rest of the year, barring if we race or not, I think we need to discuss this Wines to Wales topic.
the e-bike category.
Yeah, well, no, hopefully not. You need to start training, boy. We're going for top 10 this year. I mean, we did it last year. We got raced so bad. We did that, I think it was 20 Ks at day one, and both of us had no brake pads left.
No, we were frozen, we were ice cold, but I think it's the most fun we had on the bike until we realized we destroying bikes and not so clever. But no, definitely, I think we set the presence to be there, and it was most probably the raddest 3 days of shredding trails and just having jokes. And I definitely don't want to catch again because we caught some of the hackers going into the trails, but then they just pipped me on the climbs.
Yeah, but then if you start ape on the climbs, bro, it's a bit of a compromise there.
It's
I need to maybe train harder then.
I'll train a bit more. Last year I only rode in Feb, and then we traveled and we raced, and then I rode again at Wines to Wales. So maybe if I do 2 months training, it should be good.
Yeah. And also, I think, if you do happen to blow or miss a gel, I think we use a tube. We had some good practice last year. I think we for sure use a tube this year, bro. Slingshot. We take turns. Even if we pick up some other guys.
That little Harry Duck cry before, what was it, Waterpoint 3. That where my quad muscle just pulled tight and I just collapsed in the trail. In the trail.
Yeah, that was a rough moment. But kudos, you pulled through. I mean, considering that training was minimal because of our racing calendar, you flipping delivered the goods there.
And then what bike was I on? 140mm 650, right?
Was it 140?
No, it was the 140mm. I was on my trail bike.
Yeah, but it hit the trails right though.
We railed.
That's what mattered to you.
I think all the people we caught on the climbs, or that caught us on the climbs, we shook them quite quickly going downhill. We'd leave a nice gap, and I just hug your wheel and just set your, just flow the flow.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean,
I can't be pushed more for 10 again. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, just in case there's some cameras around. But no evidence.
But on that note, just to show the guys how immensely fit you are, that was that one climb. Well, there was a bunch of them, but between the vineyards where we got this little roller, so I came up halfway and you started pushing, and the teammates was probably well fitted guys tried to sit our wheel going up this climb, and then we eventually bumped into them, or they bumped into us at the finish line, and you were pushing me the 50 feet block, and they couldn't set our wheel going up this climb. And that was just like, to realize the amount of time you guys spend now on trainers and training on the roads and stuff. It's I don't think people actually, grasp that energy and that effort you guys put in on the bikes, and then to put a bunch of you guys doing around a single track, it's literally like Formula One.
Yeah, thanks, bro. I do think some of it, just me touching you gently, and you think you're getting a push, so you actually pedaled harder. But I'll take the credit since you're handing it out.
Yeah, we had Yaku and Ash to thank as well, Mr. Pelser and Ash already. They gave us some good chuckles, and we took turns, me and Ash, pushing each other while you and Yaku pulled away from us. So maybe me and Ash team up with you and Yaku racing.
Yeah, that would be a good one. Rematch.
Yeah.
Especially with the climb out of the mountains this year. It suits you, of course.
Oh yeah, that's perfect. I dig climbing, especially straight out the start, up a brick wall. That's right up my alley.
Yeah, hopefully we can get you on a race bike, maybe a specialized epic. Might make the job a little bit easier than the trail bike rode last year.
Yeah, no, definitely. And after seeing what those XE bikes can handle, what we did to them at training camp and some of the sections we sessioned, yeah, I'll definitely feel right at home on a normal XE bike with the new angles and things.
Yeah, I think actually while we're talking about bikes, I've just remembered the previous YouTube live streams. There was a Q&A, and we got asked about hardtail versus full suspension. I mean, obviously, I answered from a rider perspective, but I mean, I'm pretty sure you can vouch from your side, watching World Cups as a mechanic, what your opinions are on the hardtail versus full suspension on the men's and the women's side of racing. What your thoughts are on, what bike you think is better as an
Sure,
all-rounder,
that
I guess.
it is for me. If I look at it, the hardtail kind of teaches you how to ride, because you need to pick your lines super carefully. You can't just roll over the ruts or the tree stump or anything. You really need to think about how you're going about things. And where with the fully, it's almost like a bit of cheating, because if you lack in talent, the bike makes up for it. So, if you go down a section that's quite gnarly or something, the bike will absorb some of it. But from a racing point, today's hardtails and fullies are almost like completely different machines, and the weights of your race bikes coming down each year, as things get better, and how we always look for that like perfect bike. And I think we got your bike down to under 10, your full suspension, and the upsides you gain from having a full suspension is you can go faster down, you traction better while climbing. Yes, a hardtail is lighter, but I think you fatigue a bit quicker, because all the knots that the course gives back to you, you take on as a person. So your arms might become a bit more jelly quicker, or your lower back gets a bit more like those pins and needle feeling, because the saddle is just hitting back the whole time. So I would definitely, if you want to go to race bike, I would definitely lean towards the full suspension that will basically give you everything. You've got lockouts on the rear, so you can lock it out if you do, your intervals on the tarmac. So yeah, definitely full suspensions are going to become way faster and lighter, I would say. And
Okay,
Yeah, I'm
well,
actually trying to see the screen.
can you while you catching your breath there, holding everyone out, let's do a couple of questions that's come on my Instagram and the comment section. I'm going to start with the second one. Tim asked on Instagram, who makes the best coffee?
Yeah, so you just obviously you just need to say the questions because the listeners can't hear from the other side. So the question was, who makes the best coffee? And I mean, I think JP should just be honest and answer that himself.
Well, if it's it kind of goes two ways. If it's AeroPress, then it's definitely you, especially with using your frog skin.
Okay, and there's a question. How do you feel about the Olympics having moved to 2021? Maybe both of you. How does that impact?
And you, JP? Obviously, it's a big goal for you as well as a mechanic. It's a highlight for your second Olympics as well.
For me, yeah, it not easy to know that after, like you said, to touch the ground, we pulled on the rocks, we felt it, we moved it, we really got the bike style. You had your best race of the season there on quite a demanding track. There's no space to rest or anything, and we went back to the drawing board, get our things ready for what would be our big race, Olympics, and then to have that pushed back another year. Yes, it's disappointing. Because it's not something you train for, just for a month or two. It's like a long process that you go into. But from our side, the mechanics, we get more time to practice and figure out what is the fastest or the best way to be ready, even more ready now for Olympics. So it gives me time to think of more, which I'm down for. I'm happy. But yeah, it's also sad to see guys that be training hard for this goal and it's just moved back. But the interesting thing is, I think the following year after that Olympics, it's straight into a Commonwealth again, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's actually true. That's bang. Oh, good.
Yeah.
So you prepared for both?
Yeah, so now I just copy and paste.
No, I just
Copy and paste.
Yeah, I mean, it's from the product perspective as well. I think it's also the Olympics is a pretty exciting time for everyone, seeing what the guys bring to the table as far as new developments and concepts. I'm also looking forward to seeing what the guys are going to deliver for that event. But I think it'll be just as exciting next year. I think guys will probably hold back and deliver the goods next year then.
It gives us engineers and mechanics and guys even more time to bring the perfect weapon to the games and showcase, I would say, the best sport and the best, because essentially it's you and your bike that's winning, not just you. You didn't run the course, you rode it. So it's going to be super exciting to see. And yeah, the track's demanding and the weather's going to be super hot that time of year. So yeah. Still looking forward to it.
Yeah, a lot of time for homework to be done.
Yeah.
And just following up on
did this change any?
No, go for it.
Did the setback, did it change any of your training plans for the rest of the season? I know C19 has also not helped us a lot, but I'm sure your goals also had to be adjusted now going forward.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's super hard. I mean, we all start our pre-season normally around November, December if you're pushing it late, and you do massive strength volume hours, get all your long intervals in, do the first few races January and February, see where the form is at, where you need to really tweak. For me, this year would have been March would have been my tweaking period. And then race April, race World Cups in May, and this COVID has really derailed it. Obviously, you have all that shape, and then it's where do you use it? Yeah, exactly. So I've just kept my shape going and put it onto Zwift. Actually did that Zwift race I think 2 nights ago. That big international one. Managed to take the win there. My gaming skills are slowly increasing. I think it's the Call of Duty we've been playing. I think that reaction time is saved my bacon there.
That's the only downtime we get now is jam some Xbox, take our minds off not racing. I think it affects you Andy as hard being able to be between the tape.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the trails are still close, so we can't even continue with testing or get some productivity done in this time. So it's just a waiting game, I guess, until we can get out. But just for everyone to please stick to the rules and regulations, so we don't go back to level 5. I enjoyed my ride this morning. And I would like to get a few more rides outside before there's any consideration to go back to level 5.
Okay, next question for you, JP. What was the worst tech failure that Alan suffered in a big event?
Wow. These are all the questions, the long answers. I don't know about Alan, but for me, a
Yeah,
personal
just
low.
the question is what is JP's experience of the worst mechanical one of his rider have had during a race?
For me, I think Alan can almost agree. Would be La Race 2018. We've been racing in the mud all season. That was one of our wetter seasons. And got his race bike up to speed the day before. Everything was perfect. Still racing PB, front line call up. All the boxes are good day in the saddle. Alan's also come to accustomed sliding in the mud. He didn't train in the dry. So everything was really cool. He started his warm up and said, "Hey, the gears aren't good. But I'll warm up on the bike, and then when I cool down, just quickly have a look at it." So long story short, Alan had a long walk to the start line with no bike. I was busy stripping the race bike to put the parts on the spare training bike, and then I ran with that bike to the start line, literally handed it over the tape. He cleated it in, and he raced. He had a good start. Unfortunately, the one thing we didn't change was the rear shock pressure that caused him to burn out in the corner. Had a rear flat, but yet still managed to put the fastest lap time off for the day. And I think you just scraped the top 25, if I'm not mistaken.
That was a yo-yo race. I was 20. Then the chain kept popping off for some reason with the mud. So it was swapping from 50th to 20th, 50th to 20th. It was just a complete yo-yo. And it was, I think to add to your sort of disappointment, I think it also was post Canada who had just won that World Cup. So we knew the shape was good. And yeah, actually, I remember that I came through and you'd just swapped Simon's wheel. Yeah. I was with both of your riders, bang, both coming through in a room. It's JP's worst nightmare right there, I think.
Yeah, because if both guys punches had leaves us with one spare, so in between half a lap, I would literally pull off the broken tires if the rim started to destroy it, put it on a new tire, inflate it, and have it ready by the time you come should we need it again. Because that day, I think there was like 10 or 20 wheel changes in that speed job. It was honestly the most exciting racing. Like exciting, yes, but just frustrating and heartbroken that we didn't deliver on a good result. But then we went to Livigno and had a good time at a training camp. Got our ducks back in a row.
With Timmy.
Yeah.
With Tim Basingwaite.
Yeah.
Your wingman for that whole period. Managed to get world title with him and national title. He was always there in the mix with you in the tech feed zones.
Yeah, he would feed, but he had the most nerve-wracking job to get me and you wherever we needed to be on time at the right place. Be it international flight, local flight, hotel. And if we get luggage issues or whatever, we call him at 5 a.m. because it's a different time zone. Timmy was on it. He sorted it out from whatever corner of the world. But it was good to have him with us when the ducks align and the stars and everything. And we brought home the good title.
Yeah, because some good memories. I think for sure, besides the results, I think Livigno was a year highlight. That camp was epic. The weather was terrible. On one of those interval days, two of you weapons actually shuttled me down the path. I did intervals up, got super hot, got into the car that was boiling, so I didn't get cold. Shuttle down and then repeat. That was smart thinking. I mean, that played Worlds was a week later. So just risk reduction. Yeah, it was a smart awesome week.
where they went from sunny forecast to snow. Like the mountain that mountain you rode on was green trails, gloomy earth, and then the next morning it was just snow. So
I suppose that 2,000 meters a lot can change quickly.
Yeah, so we adapt and we put ourselves on the line for whatever it is, be it just to get you dry back home or anything to risk you getting sick, being at your limit. Someone sneezes in your way, and you're the easiest target to get sick.
No, exactly.
Okay, cool. Another question is Brian Gordon asked, who has higher peak power, Alan or JP?
Okay, so the question is who has the higher peak power between JP and I? I don't know. Actually, I think it'll be. I would like to see you with a power meter. I must admit, we flash back to Australia, world champs. When you were into your fitness there with your running. The way you ran like a lizard on water along the beach sand. I think you've got some punch in those pins of yours.
That was quite fun. The peak power. I wouldn't say Alan could pack a mean sprint. I wouldn't want to sprint against him. But we have that peak power at stake we had in Egypt, my friend. We had that.
Forgot about that.
We had that dinner, and we had the discussion. Who's the fastest sprinter? You and Stewart was there. Traveled for that race. And then we were chatting, stuffed our bellies full. It was the last night before the race. And walking casually. Next moment, packing like Usain Bolt out of nowhere. Just started sprinting. And next moment, like okay, you got like a little running start, but before the block ended, I managed to coach you.
I ran. I sprinted for like a minute straight. I got turn around. You're still going. This is guy up. I think you would have sprinted for 10 minutes if I kept going. So yeah. A plus for effort.
Ramad, I'm not good at failure. Put me in a corner and I'll attack. Maybe we should sprint sometime.
Yeah, I agree. That's just your character, and you never give up, and your persistence is unbelievable. If something's not right on the bike, you will pull all-nighters, many days as it takes to fix it and make it the way it should be. So, I must admit, I think that's obviously a big key to your success is not taking no for an answer or it is what it is. You always make it work, or make something to make it work. I always strive for perfection. I just take it as you don't back down in any training session. So why should I back down? Mechanical issue comes my way, or a problem or some that thing bike related. Why should I get it tomorrow? Or fine. You go out 5 hours a day, perfecting your fitness and getting it to peak. So if I'm slacking, then we wouldn't have the track record we've got today. If I wasn't fully committed like you are. So it goes both ways. I think Works was the one time I gave you the bike after the training session, and there was a bolt missing. I can't remember what bolt it was. There was something insane, and like you would never think to or you wouldn't have. I would never notice that it was even missing. You got the bike straight away. Like had a quick look. Oh, this is missing. Like your attention to detail. Unbelievable. But I think in your part time, what do you do besides bikes? Or is it all just bikes?
It's mainly two wheels. It's just bikes. I've got two boys that I ride with. They're starting to ride somewhat bit of trails. And if it's not a push bike, then definitely motorbike is my next go-to. I've had a track record of some different bikes that I've had, and that I've owned and ridden, super bikes, super motards, anything two wheels. I'm quite a happy guy. Best downtime for me would be I've got a nice cruiser, a Harley, and that would be just do 4 passes on the Harley, and just slow things down a little bit, but yet still enjoy the corners or the climb.
Yeah, and rip everyone's eardrums off along the way with that pipe you have on. It's acrophobic. Things insanely loud, but it's gangster. It suits you, bro.
Yeah, you just need that little something to reset, your newfound for love for fishing. It's just that one place where you can be either yourself and just like reset the clock, get the training gears going again, or think on how you can approach the next bunch of racing differently. And motorbike is my little escape and my getaway.
Yeah, I do believe it's so important to just get that fresh view when you come back, post. What have you done to your mind? Hit it fresh. It's obvious how much easier things become when you see things you didn't see before. I think another important thing is your a lot of traveling we do. I mean, from your side, how is it being on the road all the time?
For me, I went. For me, on the road, it's sometimes it's hard. It's not easy. I think our biggest block was 5 or 6 weeks on the road. But my support structure back home, Pauline, they super caring. They behind me 120%. We do video calls and all those things. So it's super easy to be on the super easy to be on the road, but equally as hard because the amount of I think this year was the first year I've been home for my anniversary and her birthday, because every year we normally race over that weekend. Be it Commonwealth Games or African Champs or something that happens. So it has its pros and cons, but it's super cool. You also not a bad guy to hang out with, so that makes it easier. It really helps that we don't have just that rider mechanic, just give me a dirty bike and expect to clean. That we've got each other's back, and that helps a lot as well. So I'm really happy to be on the road, and it's mainly winter. Who wants to be home in South Africa when it's winter?
No, exactly. Yeah, and you kept so busy doing those World Cups as well. Now you flat box. I think I actually hardly get to see you. But we've figured out how loopholes to get some time to share coffee during World Cup week. But I think something that's probably pretty interesting is what would you suggest for the kids at the Spur League? Obviously if they on the weekends or during the week post training or pre-training, however it works out, for them to possibly get into being a mechanic in some way, whether it be a bike shop or just sort of trying to take a profession to it. What would be your suggestion or steps for them to possibly make a career out of it?
It's a tricky one. It's a long, but it's like study long experience. But what I did was I think about 16. You're allowed to start working part time, like waitressing, video shops, things like that. And I tried to get freelance work at bike shop. Be it the wash boy, be it the coffee guy, whatever bikes is really your passion. Just being in a bike shop is already the step towards becoming a race mechanic, be it a race mechanic, nutritionist, anything bike related. I would definitely start at the bike shop, and then also being at all these events, you get to meet team mechanics, team guys. When we have epic and things like that, the world's best riders and mechanics and staff come to South Africa. So it's good to show face, be around, be and I think that's how Dylan actually, or I'm not 100% sure, but one of my mates started working for Specialized because they needed a wash boy, and he washed bikes, and then next thing he became part of the furniture. So bike shops, and then just race bikes and enjoy it. Don't. Now the words don't come out.
I think it's just you have to start at the bottom. Be willing to learn the process. Don't expect to jump from where you are now to team mechanic. Your road's been long. You started young. You studied in America. I can't remember the exact degree. Which one was it again?
I did three courses: certified master technician, certified suspension technician, and a certified GT Swiss wheel builder. Just because a bike shop told me I'll never be able to get that, and put me in a corner. I'll show you. I will do that. And I think that was 07. The bike shop told me that. 2009, I flew over and I did the 4-week study course to get my certification and things like that. But there's a place I think in Johannesburg, Talk Zone, that gives the equivalent of international grade, certification or anything like that. Where be it you just want to learn the basic stuff to look after. The parents want to look after their light bikes, these guys offer tailor-made courses where you could learn to become, get the right tools to do things right, because you're having someone's life in your hands. And I started thinking on my own bike, taking stuff apart, because luckily it's my life, it's not someone else's. To the point where if you send the bike in for the service and the guys go, well, nothing's wrong, then you're like, yes, I managed to fix it. So
that's a good one. Yeah. And I mean, as far as basic sort of maintenance, I suppose some of those maintenance could be make or break whether you have a chance of being a mechanic. What would you suggest? Everyone should sort of have a quick brush through. I mean, obviously everyone rode outside today, more than likely, but for tomorrow's ride, what could possibly be a bit shady and might need a quick look over before you head out?
I would definitely sealant. I think sealant in all these wheels will be super low, because the bikes have all been hibernating for 5 weeks. Some maybe haven't checked it even before lockup, so sealant levels might definitely be low. And I would add some more train lube, because that's the guys the dusty and dry. And then just wipe down the suspension components of your bike. If you have a hardtail, just the full suspension, wipe down front and back. Those little dust particles behind the seal head, and just adds to maintenance that have to happen sooner than later. So the best advice would be just clean bike is a happy bike. If you had a couple of sweat sessions and wet rides, winter or whatever, and there's some dust and mud build up on the bike, give it a quick wash. That's the time where I pick up most of my issues that I fix later on the prep stand. But just going through the tires, pulling out little thorns that will prevent a puncture down the road, because you can seal it at home. So yeah.
No, I mean, you have 3 hours to ride. And the last thing you want, or maybe actually less than 3 hours, depending if you have lights or not. The last thing you want is your golden window to go exercise, and you roll out the door and get a puncture, hitting a piece of glass or something stupid. So I think that's super important. But I mean, that's not gonna make or break to be a mechanic or not. But it's a good start.
It is. I'm sure most of these kids have dads that ride, and the whole family is riding. So you can easily have 4 bikes, 4-5 bikes at home that can be washed and checked through, and make sure they're all spinning smoothly. So they'll be super busy.
Yeah, exactly. I think it just boils down practice makes perfect. And I think you learn by doing in most cases. From my side. I'm not by any means a mechanic. You can vouch for that. You can vouch for that. No, I think for me, you know, trying to fix the gears myself, a few times, you eventually learn, how to do it yourself. And I think obviously you keep doing that, and eventually you build up a skill set that's valuable to perhaps work in a bike shop.
Yeah, no, definitely. For me, it's the same. I don't. It's not just another gear set or anything like that. It's you do until you get it perfect. I think before we head over to World Champs, me and Tim spent the full day just swapping your rear wheel. I was adamant to if we're going to World Champs, sprints and intervals, I'll be swapping wheels until my arms can't no more. And repetition, practice, and you'll get it. You'll get it.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, those finer details is what makes a massive difference. I mean, at a World Cup, those seconds are so crucial. But I see we actually had time for the sessions. I was going pretty quick. It's a lot easier. Talking to your bro. Time flies. But yeah, thanks to everyone who tuned in. Hope JP gave you some valuable insight on life as a mechanic and what it entails. And yeah, see you at the next one. Thanks for giving your insight, JP.
Thanks. It's always good catching up. Next time I'll probably try the Zwift as well, and hopefully get some sweat down as well. We'll try to figure out things. Cheers, guys.
Super. That'd be good. Cheers. Bye.